beautiful friends, it's Amanda here, and today we're talking about some new NARS products that just released at Ulta. I'm not sure if these are going to be completely Ulta exclusive or if just the launch is Ulta exclusive, meaning that they're first available at Ulta and then eventually other retailers will get them. But at least for now, at the time I'm filming this video, these are only available at Ulta. We have 4 products in this little launch. There are 2 cheek palettes and then 2 mini lip duos. So let's talk about the mini lip duos first. These are priced at $24 US a piece. Each one contains a mini Afterglow lip balm and a mini velvet matte lip pencil, hence the name Matte and Glow Duo. And despite the artwork on the front being pretty much identical, you can tell there's a slight color difference, and that's because we have a pink duo and a nudes duo. Now, none of these shades are new. These are all existing shades. Same goes for the blush quads as well. All of the colors in this little release are all existing shades. So keep that in mind as you're watching this. You may already have one or more of these colors, and these are a lot of cult favorite colors. In the pinks duo, we have the Afterglow lip balm in the shade Orgasm. That's what I'm wearing on my lips today. This is a long time favorite for me. I actually just featured this lip balm in my top favorite pink lip colors video that I released not too long ago. And then the Velvet Matte Lip Pencil is in the shade Sex Machine. NARS really does not pull any punches when it comes to naming their shades. It would almost be weird if they didn't at this point. The Nudes duo contains another one of my favorites, the Afterglow lip balm in the shade Dolce Vita, and the Velvet Matte Lip Pencil is in the shade Bahama. Just to give you an idea of how many these minis are, this is the mini Afterglow lip balm, and this is the full-sized Afterglow lip balm. So you can see the difference is pretty apparent. So the full size is 3 grams of product and the mini is 1.1 grams. I'm going to show you some quick lip swatches and then we'll move on to the blush palettes. Okay, let's talk about the Basic Instincts cheek quads. We have 2 different versions. I love that NARS is back to doing 2 different colorways in their cheek palettes. That has been one of my major critiques of the last couple of NARS cheek palette releases. Typically, I am a big fan of the NARS face palettes in general. I just think they're great formulas. They're usually really well curated. They're a great value, which we'll get to that in a minute. The last few cheek palette releases, they've only done 1 version, when in the past they had pretty reliably released 2 different versions. So I'm happy to see that they're back to that and just giving us more of a variety to work for a wider range of skin tones. So they've already got my interest. They've already got me feeling optimistic. Before we look at these palettes individually, I just want to give you a price per gram breakdown. This is something I like to do a lot because I do think that these NARS cheek palettes are an incredible value. These are quads, of course. You can see here that these cheek palettes have 4 blushes and each blush is 4 grams a piece. So that means each palette contains a total of 16 grams of product, and these are priced at $39. So that means that each one is just about $2.44 per gram. So to put that in context for you, their regular, just standalone single blush compacts are 4.8 grams each. So barely larger than these individual pans. And those are priced at $30 a piece for 1 blush. The price per gram on the individual blushes is just about $7.14 per gram. So once again, the value, the per gram value in these cheek palettes is incredible. I will say that I do prefer when they have a highlighter or a bronzer or something mixed in, because I am going to tend to go through those grams more quickly. But as somebody who is a big blush lover, I'm more likely to mix and layer multiple blushes than I would be something like a bronzer palette or a contour palette. So when it comes to that use value, I guess it just depends on your personal preferences. I am somebody that likes to mix and customize my cheek colors, so I am going to reach for a blush palette like this a lot, but I can see how some people are going to be more inclined to reach for and use up a single pan of blush. It's not just the program numbers, it's also about that use value for you personally in your own makeup routine. But for me, and I'm sure for a lot of you, this is a fantastic value. It's a great way to get a lot of cult favorite colors all in one place. So now let's take a close-up look at each one of these palettes individually. Let's start with the Basic Instincts 1 palette. You can see the palette itself just has a really plain matte black outer packaging. It's just the cover art on the front of these palettes that distinguishes them. And of course they are labeled with a sticker on the back. You can see the shade names back here as well. This is the only place where the palette name and shade names are present. There's no other indications inside the palette. Signature Soft Touch Matte Black Outer Packaging for NARS. I do want to point out that size-wise, these Basic Instinct quads are quite a bit more travel friendly than a lot of the other 6-pan cheek palettes that we've seen from NARS. The cheek quads are really like an eyeshadow palette size. They remind me of the size of the ColourPop 9-pan eyeshadow palettes. So they still have that really slim profile, but with the great mirror that's in here and this more compact size, I see these being an awesome size for travel or for a makeup artist's kit. There is also a locking clasp closure on these palettes. Also, in typical NARS fashion, these are a little bit difficult to open. Not impossible for me to do, but I'd say they're improving their little clasp, but it's still kind of hard for me to open. There is a really, really nice big mirror in here, and then you can see the 4 blush shades. In this palette, we have 2 shimmers on top and then 2 matte shades below. I'm going to show you a little swatch on my arm of all 4 of these shades now. The 2 shimmer shades are the cult favorite Orgasm Blush, and then the one next to it is a darker, deeper version of that called Orgasm X. We have seen that previously. And then the 2 matte blushes are a lot more neutral base, not quite as warm pink. We have Behave and Dolce Vita. Dolce Vita does have a little bit of a satiny look to it in the pan, but once it's swatched on the arm, it looks and feels just like a matte blush to me. This is the palette that I'm wearing on my cheeks today. I first mixed the 2 matte shades, Behave and Dolce Vita, and I just kind of softly layered that on because even these lighter shades tend to be quite pigmented, and these shades are very, very buildable. So I find that with NARS cheek products, it's best to start with a lighter than usual hand and then build up to the desired opacity. So I was really happy with the color payoff that I got and the actual color of the blush. I thought it looked really good, especially with this eye look. But if you know me, you know I love to have a shimmery cheek. I need a little casually sweaty look. So I did go back in with just a little bit of the original Orgasm Blush shade and dust that on top so that I could get a little bit more of a sheen on the cheeks, which is my preferred look. Now let's talk about the Basic Instincts 2 cheek quad. Same packaging look here. The palette itself looks exactly the same. It's just the colors on the front of the outer cardboard box that really distinguish versions 1 and 2. Then we have palette name and then the shade names on the sticker on the back. Nice mirror inside. NARS always has such good mirrors on their palettes. I know that probably doesn't seem like a big deal, but you know, if you're dropping a pretty penny on a palette, I like to have a nice mirror in there. I use my mirrors in my palettes and compacts, so I like that they're really big, really clear. Then the 4 shades laid out here. The shade Torrid much like the other blush shade that we talked about, it looks more satiny, even borderline shimmery in the pan, but once it's swatched on the skin, I think it looks and acts a lot more like a matte. I will say Torrid is more satiny than Dolce Vita. Okay, so we're gonna look at the swatches of the Basic Instincts 2 Cheek Quad now. We have Torrid, Savage, Exhibit A, which is a gorgeous bright orangey red blush, and Taj Mahal. As usual, I'm a big fan of these cheek palettes. I think they're a great value. They're well curated. I'm happy to see that they're back to offering 2 different versions to cater to a lot of skin tones. Version 1 works better for me, and I imagine that this is going to be better for more like pale to light skin tones. And then Basic Instincts 2 is going to work really well for tan, medium, all the way up to deep skin tones. I think there's a lot of versatility across the board with both of these palettes because you can mix the different shades and finishes and layer them, and this formula is so nicely buildable. I think that a lot of different people are going to be able to use both palettes by either layering up the shades to make one work for more medium or deep skin tones, or by shearing out the shades to make 2 work for lighter, paler skin tones. Across the board, I think these are a great value. This is a really wonderful way to get a lot of cult favorite, really highly regarded shades and finishes from the NARS blush family. And I do think this would be a great way to start if you've been holding off on purchasing a full-size NARS blush because they are very pricey. I think this would also be great for makeup artists if you want some really reliable, wonderful, buildable formulas for your kit. You have a whole wide range here that's going to work on a lot of different clients, different models. All in all, I just think this is a really good release. I know a lot of people get sick of NARS re-releasing these same shades over and over again, and I understand that. That's totally valid, but not everybody has a drawer full of NARS blushes already. There's always new people that are stepping into the makeup world, or, you know, there's just some folks that haven't really wanted to turn over $30 for a single blush, and I think these palettes are really well curated for all of those customers. I think they're a great buy. If you don't already have these in your collection, I don't think you would be disappointed with these palettes. I'm slightly less excited about the lip duos. I still think those are great formulas. I'm just not huge on the matte lip pencils. I don't like that they need to be sharpened, and I just don't find myself reaching for matte lips a lot in general. However, I will say I love the Afterglow lip balms. If you're willing to drop the $24 on a mini duo, you might as well just go ahead and buy a full size of the Afterglow lip balm. But, you know, to each their own. A lot of people love those velvet matte lip pencils, so if you fall into that camp, then these are probably a really great buy for you as well. Now's the time when I want to hear what you think about these products. Are you interested? Do you already have a lot of NARS blushes? Have you been holding off looking for a better value? Are you somewhere in between? I always love to hear what you think about things too, so make sure you leave all your thoughts down in the comments below. As always, thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye! Why am I losing my voice? I've been filming for less than 10 minutes. Wait, let me double check the price of those. True professional. A true professional. I mean, my eye look is... When I was doing this look, I was like, oh no, it's too much, it's too blue, it's too... And you know what? I was completely wrong. It's amazing. It's fabulous, and I love it. I have a lot... What? Is that what I meant to say? Did that make sense? Doing great. Doing great. So the price per gram on the individual brushes, blushes, blah, blah, blah. Why am I struggling with this? This is not a difficult thing to say. What am I trying to say? Not cool, bro. All of these... That was not a smooth transition at all. What was I saying? Oh, I forgot to compare these. Ugh. Dang it, Amanda. As usual, I will have to edit that to make sense. That's kind of my MO. Okay, I got other stuff to film, so I'm gonna go do that, and I I will see you soon. Thanks for hanging out. I love your face. It's just cute and precious, and I'm glad that you brought it here. So I'll talk to you soon. Okay, bye.